Have you yet had a conversation with ChatGPT or any generative AI for that matter? I want to show you what that conversation could look like in education. Just a conversation with ChatGPT. And I don't mean give it a task and it spits out a whole bunch of information very quickly. I mean actually having a conversation with the bot. Let's try it out. Here's the question or prompt that I'm going to have ChatGPT do with me. I want to have a conversation with you. This means I want to have a dialogue with you without you telling me what you think I should do. Consider a questioning format so that we can come to a conclusion or solution. Does this make sense? Let's see what happens. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Let's have a conversation where we explore your thoughts and ideas through a series of questions and discussions. What would you like to talk about or focus on today? Now, you can decide many things, like maybe you're an educator and you're in the classroom and your students aren't doing as well as you think they should do on the state assessment by the end of the year. Maybe you are in the business world and you're not, for some reason, consumers aren't turning into customers or aren't staying with the company and for a long, maybe it's a longevity issue. You can have that dialogue back and forth with ChatGPT. Because sometimes what I have found is that when I put something in ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or Copilot, what it wants to do is give me a solution. Well, I want to be a part of that solution. So let's put this in. And this is what I'm thinking. I am an eighth grade mathematics teacher. I'm not, I'm actually a science teacher by trade, but let's go with it. And each year, my students tend to score about the same compared to previous years on the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. We use the STAR Math Screener. They score well on this assessment by March. About 75% of my students are above the state comparison on the STAR math test. But when they take the CAASPP math test, it is about 35%. Let's figure out how I can support students and update my teaching. So let's see what it says. Okay, got it. Now, spin it out pretty fast, but let's look at it. Let's start by understanding a bit more about the differences between the STAR Math Screener and the CAASPP Math Test. Uh-oh, there might be a difference. Here are a few questions to guide our conversation. Test content and structure. How do the content and structure of the STAR Math Screener and the CAASPP Math Test differ? Are there specific areas where students perform differently on the test? Well, let's say this. Let's focus on section 1 first, okay? Because that's a lot. It still gave me a whole lot, okay? Okay, so it actually is still spitting out a whole bunch more. Okay, I think you are overwhelming me. Section 1 only had 2 questions. Why are you doing this? Let's see what it does, because I want you to see that you can make it slow down. Great. How do the content and structure of the STAR Math Screener and the CAASPP Math Test differ? Well, I know that. So I'm going to actually say, I'm going to ask it to say, do you know the answer to number 1? I am curious about your thoughts. The reason why I'm doing this, because what if I don't know? So let's look at this. Content and structure differences. STAR Math Screener, typically the STAR Math Screener is designed to assess a wide range of math skills quickly. Math skills, I want you to hear that. It uses adaptive technology, meaning the difficulty of questions adjusts based on the student's responses. The test often includes a broad range of topics, from basic arithmetic to more complex algebra and geometry, but it may not delve as deeply into each topic as the CAASPP does. The reason why I'm doing this is because I like this question, because I've been saying for the longest time, the assessment, the STAR reading and math assessments are very good screeners to get you going on what skills students know. But the CAASPP does something a little bit, okay, a lot of it differently. The CAASPP math test, the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, is a standardized test aligned with the Common Core state standards. It includes a variety of question types, such as a multiple choice, short answer performance task that requires students to apply their knowledge to real world scenarios. The CAASPP tends to cover topics in more depth and often includes complex problem solving and reasoning questions. Now, there are 4 claims or domains on the CAASPP test. Concepts and procedures number 1 is very similar to just what STAR mathematics assess. And then there are 3 other ones. And those 3 other ones really focus on the standards for mathematical practices. Now for the second question, performance differences, adaptive versus fixed. Since the STAR Math Screener is adaptive, it tailors the difficulty to each student, potentially giving a more tailored measure of their ability. In contrast, the CAASPP has a fixed set test of questions for all students, which is not true. So I'm going to say this. I'm actually going to say, if you don't know this, this is why generative AI can be very frustrating. The CAASPP is adaptive. Do some quick research. Only stick to this answer. And I'm doing this because, again, I feel like it's giving me too much. And I found that was frustrating me when I was using any generative AI. I was getting extremely overwhelmed with the amount of output. So if I asked it to help me with a lesson plan, it would create this full lesson plan for a whole year. And I'm like, whoa, I just want a lesson plan for tomorrow. And even if I did just want one for tomorrow, it would spit out something that probably college students would do, and it was 3rd grade. So something to think about. So let's see, the CAASPP math test is indeed adaptive. Okay. And I don't want to spend too much time on that, but if you don't know this and you use only generative AI to help you, you have to be very cognizant and aware that you will need to go to other resources. It's just like if you Google something, you can't trust it. It's kind of like watching the news, in the evening news or the morning news. Sometimes the news gives you information to increase your dopamine and go down negative land. Well, ChatGPT can give you a bunch of information and go down a path that you don't want to go down because it's just way too much information. So this is really good. So, and again, it just went off on a tangent. It says, are there specific areas where students perform differently on the test? And again, this is a lot. Okay, so this is still a lot of info, but let's move on. Knowing this, what can I do about my students not doing well on the state assessment? Especially considering they are only good at skills and not the problem solving. Are there any sample problems for, I'm going to say SBAC, because SBAC is the Smarter Balance Assessment Consortium, and along with ETS, the testing company that runs CAASPP, SBAC actually makes the test, and CAASPP is the format or the platform that we use in the state of California. Could be saying that slightly wrong, but they all work together. Anyway, are there any sample problems for SBAC that I can see or you can recommend? Maybe a website. Keep this simple for now. And I'm saying that because, again, it spits out so much. Okay, I like this. I like this so much. So it's a lot, but incorporate performance tasks. This is huge. The state assessment gives us performance tasks, meaning some of these tests, you might do a skill, a mathematics computational problem, but you will need to build on that and use that math to answer other problems. Use practice tests and sample questions, like the CAASPP practice test, practice and training test. Love that. Like you could go and look at that at the beginning of the year as a math teacher. or a K-5 teacher or K-6 teacher. And if you integrate everything, you can actually use this as well. Smarter balanced sample items. This one I really like because I know that there are these sample problems that you can give you a scope of, okay, if my students are really good at mathematics skills, what can we do to integrate that problem solving? Because you'd be surprised. Students will rise to that occasion when it comes to learning. And if we can get them using their problem solving skills, whew, so much light bulbs going on. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about when it comes to the mathematics claims and the state standards and the mathematical practices, watch this video. Anyway, you can do problem solving strategies and collaborative learning, frequent formative assessments, real world application. I just want to stop for a moment. When we see real world application, that can be very difficult for many teachers. And that's because real world problems doesn't mean you need to be able to solve this problem so get you a job. It might just be in first and second grade when I can take these two numbers, these two add-ins, 5 and 7, and I can combine those two numbers, 5 and 7, and come up with a sum all the time. I know I have mastered this. And they can give you academic language. So something to really think about. And I have no idea why I'm holding it. Anyway, so just think about how this can help you. Now I'm going to ask you just one more question. What are some guiding questions that I can think about when I am using my product, AKA, let's go with district provided curriculum. Now I'm going to say that the curriculum is the state standards. Note, state standards are the curriculum. I mean the product. Just provided curriculum. I mean the product. When creating lessons. Give me only 3 questions. I could have added more, but let's just go with this. So when using your district provided curriculum and state standards to create lessons, here are 3 guiding questions to consider. Alignment with the standards. How does this lesson align with the state standards and the district's curriculum goals? I'm struggling with this question, but anyway. Ensure that your lessons cover the required content and skill as per the state standards, helping students stay on track with what they need to learn. Engagement and relevance. Question, how can I make the lesson engaging and relevant to my students' interest and real-world experiences? Okay, I am thinking more on the lines of all 4 claims in math. Specifically, claim 1, concepts and procedures, and claims 2, 3, and 4, mathematical practices. Remember, state standards for math are concepts, are just claim 1, and the state and the math practices are the thinking. They're the avenues of thinking and how we get there, and problem solving. Just 3 questions, not purpose for now. Because it's just, I don't want all this extra noise. Like, get rid of the noise when you're creating lesson plans. Like, what do students need to know? And are they including the mathematical practices? Okay. Ooh, concepts and procedures. How does the lesson ensure students understand that they apply the key mathematical concepts and procedures as outlined? How does the lesson incorporate real-world problems and scenarios that require students to apply their mathematical knowledge in meaningful ways? How does this lesson encourage students to explain their reasoning, justifying their answers, and critique the reasoning of others? Again, you can watch this video if you're like, I don't understand what those mathematical practices are. So I just think that this is a way for you to have a dialogue. And if it's giving you too much, say, hold up, ChatGPT. This is too much. Slow down, scale it back a bit. That's what my hope is for you, is to really kind of have some fun around what you're doing with ChatGPT, to have that dialogue instead of it just spitting it out and you're like, whoa, I don't even know where to start. I do hope this video was helpful for you. If you are feeling overwhelmed in ChatGPT or just not sure where to start, tell it to be a partner with you. Tell it to slow down. Tell it to help you think and to come up with great ideas, maybe edit a few things for you. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the bell. Come back often. And thank you so much for watching.